Hey, welcome back everybody. For RotoExperts.com, I'm Nate Pigott, here to help you dominate with this fantasy football roto clip. And we're back to talk about the start and sit wide receivers. This time it's week 9 in the NFL season. And the first player to get off of your bench into your lineups is James Jones of the Green Bay Packers. Now, Jones was shut out last week facing the New York Jets defense, but the Jets pass defense is very good, especially when both Antonio Cromartie and Darrelle Revis are healthy. James Jones had a tough day, as did Donald Driver. I recommended sitting both of those players last weekend. This weekend, get Jones into your lineup. The Dallas Cowboys are coming to Lambeau. Their defense has allowed 15 touchdowns in 7 games through the air. It's a great time to start James Jones, especially with Donald Driver a little bit nicked up. He's got a quad injury, may not even play this weekend, which means James Jones' role in that offense will be expanded. Get him into your lineups. Another player I really like is Wes Welker. Now, it's funny to even consider Wes Welker a questionable starter, but if you look at his stats, especially since Randy Moss left New England, Welker's been kind of up and down as a fantasy wide receiver with more downs than up. Last weekend, only 5 pass targets, which is a season low for Wes Welker. This is a guy that averaged over 7 receptions per game last season, and he's on pace for his New England career lows in both receptions and receiving yards. But I like him this weekend against the Cleveland Browns. His long-term value is down, but his short-term value is way up because the Browns allow 244 passing yards per game, and they also shut down the running game. Only 1 touchdown on the ground against the Browns this season and only 3.9 yards per carry, which means the Patriots are probably going to rely on their short passing game. A lot of targets for Wes Welker. He should pile up the yardage, so he'll be valuable as both a PPR receiver and a standard league receiver. Make sure you start Wes Welker. Don't panic too much about his lack of production. Moving on, a few players you should leave on your bench. And first we're going to go to Detroit and talk about Nate Burleson. Really, bench anyone in the Detroit Lions passing game other than Calvin Johnson's this weekend, as it's not a great matchup. The Jets defense, which I mentioned earlier, coming to town, and Burleson will be facing either Cromartie or Revis. Not very good for a receiver really of his ability. It's going to be a pretty easy day for Revis or Cromartie to stop Nate Burleson. Whoever's taking Calvin Johnson, that's not going to be too easy. He's a freak, but Burleson, get him on your bench. I think he has a very low fantasy productive day. No reason to start Burleson. Also, Brandon Pettigrew and Bryant Johnson, no reason to start those guys. Even though Burleson has been kind of a popular fantasy free agent addition with 14 catches in his last 2 games, leave him on your bench. And finally, the last guy I'm going to recommend to sit, Marcus Colston of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Colston, he's turned it around. He started slow, but he's had 3 quality fantasy games in his last 4 outings. But you look at what he's done against his Week 9 opponent, the Carolina Panthers. In his last 3 games against Carolina, only 6 receptions for 84 yards combined, 0 touchdowns. They shut him down in their first meeting in 2010. He caught 4 passes for 36 yards. I expect a similar day from Marcus Colston. He'll probably catch 3 to 5 passes under 50 yards, which is, it's acceptable, I guess, for PPR leagues, but standard leagues, definitely bench Colston. Don't expect another big game, even though he's had 2 touchdowns and a touchdown in each of his last 2 games. Check out tomorrow where Tamer Chama will bring you your running back start and sits. Thursday, he's back with quarterback start and sits. And make sure you head over to RotoExperts.com for all your fantasy advice. We have live advice, email advice, tools that help you get your fantasy information how you want it and when you want it. RotoExperts.com, it has it all. I'll be back next week. Until then, I wish you all the best of luck. I'm Nate Pigott, and I hope you dominate.